Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for January 3rd, 2025. We're going to be doing the Week 18 NFL picks against the spread, the Thursday Thoughts version for this 2024 NFL season. Before we get to the intros, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing something from the merch store. It's the 801 AMC shirt. Don't buy AMC now, but back then it was a hot ticket. So yeah, you can get that as well as some other stuff. If you actually look closely on my shirt here, you can actually it's black. It's hard to see. There's a ketchup stain. These shirts do not come with a ketchup stain. You have to get your own. It's from my daughter, but yeah, you can get these shirts here, 25% off. There's a bunch of them. There's a mug. There's an apron. As I said before, I'm going to do some more mugs once I get more time in the off season. So. And maybe look into some other stuff. I saw leggings. I don't know, if we have any female listeners or something. Maybe my wife will buy one. But yeah, you guys can help us out here. You can go to Amazon, buy Jerks of the College Years. This is my most recent book where I made fun of people. I saw at Penn State where I spent 6 years. Also, how the 2020 MVP was stolen, which is the untold story about how Brett Favre tried to sabotage Aaron Rodgers. It was like 4 years ago now, actually. Yeah, 4 years. So, yeah, you can read about that as well. Also, super chats, super stickers are the best way to help out the show. Yesterday, we had John Sanders helping us the day before, Slew, and then also Cam Meek and Eagle, and then Drew for show. You guys have been so awesome with the contributions. I can't say that enough. And they're more needed now than ever because it's Q1. In the advertising world, like no one advertises in the first quarter of the year. So our YouTube ad revenue is going to plummet even worse than what it was. So if you guys want to help us out, that's the best way. Travis says wear leggings as a guy. Nice. Yeah, so maybe you will buy one. All right, so we are joined by Andy Iskoe. Andy, how are you and how's your week 17?
Well, happy New Year, Walter, to you and all the listeners and viewers. And week 17 was pretty good. It's been a distant memory so far. I mean, it was already last year and everything, but there's a lot that's happened since then with the college football bowls and everything, and the tragedies, unfortunately, obscuring some of what happened. But nothing all that outstanding about week 17. I guess I was going to say, iceberg. Hi, Andy. Hi, ice. Ice. But I was going to say that I was impressed. I was on the Rams. I liked the Rams a lot last week, so I was impressed with what Arizona did, especially defensively with how they were able to contain the Rams. Although the Rams had been struggling a little bit in recent weeks offensively, but that might lead to something that we can do this week in involving the Rams and the Cardinals. And then I suppose the biggest surprise, and I wasn't involved in it, but the Indianapolis Colts losing as poorly as they did to the Giants. I don't know if you've been following the Circa Survivor contest, but there were 34 contestants who survived the first part of last week. I guess it's week 17A, which was the 3 games, the 2 on Christmas and the day after, and then everyone had to resubmit a selection for the Saturday, Sunday, Monday games, and 16 of the 34 were on the Colts. So we're down now to 18. I think it's 18 contestants for the $14.266 million. And whereas it looked at about the early part of October that, hey, we might actually have a single winner, that's extremely unlikely now. In fact, it wouldn't be a surprise if we had 8 to 10 or more.
Yeah, I feel like, well, we'll see what happens in one of these games. I think a lot of people might be on Atlanta. They're a big favorite, but who knows? They could end up losing. And if they do,
it could be scoreboard watching affecting that.
Yeah.
You know, if all of a sudden Tampa Bay wins and there's 8 minutes to go in the Atlanta game and Atlanta's up by 3, they might just, mentally, emotionally kick it in, and Carolina comes back and gets a game-winning touchdown or something. Yeah, that is something that might also be a reason. And again, for the people who want to follow it, they can go to the Circa Sports website, because they not only list the selections of the 18 entries that remain alive, they also show the teams from which the 18 entries had to choose. And of course, there are 20 weeks in the contest, 18 weeks in the season, but the Thanksgiving double week and the Christmas double week, which means that you will have picked 19 teams by the time you get to week 20. So there were 13 teams that those 18 contestants, or the 18 entries, because there might be a multiple. I don't know if there are any multiple entry holders at this point anymore, but nonetheless, there's still 13 teams that everyone has alive, and so they're obviously for the most part, you would think non-playoff teams, but even for some of those playoff teams, I mean, I wouldn't think anyone would have Kansas City still alive. But if they do, you would certainly want to really consider if you want to play Kansas City this week. So it'll be an interesting week to see which teams are available, which teams play, and if we can get multiple winners for. I mean, either way, whoever's going to be, if there are like 10 people, they're going to be at least, well, I guess I think about 15 or 16 people to be millionaires.
This guy is selling his 1% of his winnings for $3,500. And it looks like he has Atlanta, Carolina, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, LA Rams, Raiders, Patriots, Saints, Giants, and Titans still available. Of those teams, the only favorites there are the Falcons, the Colts, and that.
I'm sorry, you cut out on that. Who are the favorites that
the only favorites he has? The only favorites he has remaining here on the screen is the ones darkened. Falcons
right.
and Falcons and Colts, and maybe the Patriots turn to be favorites as the week progresses. But yeah, it's Falcons and Colts as it stands now. I was talking to Evan about this on Tuesday. He said he would definitely choose the Falcons.
That's the one came to mind. Yeah, we can talk about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But I asked Evan this, and like, what if, like, would you try to game theory this? Would you just try to take the best team? Or would you say, okay, I think everyone's going to be in Atlanta. Let me take an Indianapolis.
No. I don't care what anybody else takes. I want to win. If I have to share it with people, that's great. I'm still going to be probably a millionaire. I want to get the team that I think has the best chance of winning. I'm not going to use game theory. You use game theory maybe in the Circa Millions contest where you got to make 5 picks and every team is available and you have to decide who your opponents want. Now, you may use game theory when you're trying to get this far, but now that you're here, you just need to pick the one team that you think is going to win. And if the other 17 contestants pick it, you're still going to collect something. Let me put it this way: whatever you do, if you win, you're getting a heck of a lot more than your entry fee of $1,000 back.
That's true. What if you had? I also asked Evan this. What if you had 2 entries left? Would you pick one the favorite for the one and game theory the other, or would you just pick off?
No, if I had 2 entries left, I might go against myself in a game.
Yep. Okay.
You know,
that's true. That's true. Yeah. Because you can't do Atlanta, Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can do any game you want. No, I'm sorry. There you might use game theory because there you might say, I'm going to play the game where I think the fewest people will be on the other side, let's say.
Right.
So in other words, in that situation, because you know you're going to win, you know you're going to collect something because you got the 2 entries, okay? In that case, I might want to say, okay, which is the most likely team to be that would be picked that will lose, that has a chance of losing? You know, maybe it might be, for example, I would think a lot of people this week would pick Baltimore, but they probably have a very small chance of losing. Now, I could understand. We'll get to this game also, but you might have a lot of people who will pick Denver this week on the fact that they're 10.5 point favorites. You know, so maybe if I'm contrarian, you know, hey, I got Kansas City's resting everybody. They got a really good roster and all that. They got Carson Wentz, who's a proven quarterback. They could upset the Denver Broncos. I might be the only one on the Chiefs this week. They might think that way because they're also going to be on Denver.
Right.
But
I do wonder because Kansas City was on the 2 short slates and the Ravens were on the previous Christmas slate. So there's a good chance that the Ravens are just gone on those entries. I don't know if that's true, but I imagine that many people have used the Ravens already. So, but I think if you have the Ravens, you have basically a free ride,
a winning ticket. Yeah, pretty much.
So
I was doing a podcast today, and the host was introducing the Ravens game. Is that okay? So like Andy, do you think that the Cleveland Browns have a chance to ... I thought he was going to say cover the spread. He was talking about pulling the upset.
Oh my God!
You know? So they might have a chance to cover the spread, but that depends upon the kindness of Baltimore.
Well, this
Baltimore's another one that might rest a lot of players, if depending upon who they even start with. But they got to play next week.
Yeah. Enemy. Speaking of this game, we have Browns at the Ravens. This line is ballooned to 20. This is pretty wild. It's very rare to see lines this high. It's only happened 14 times since 1989. Do you know the history of these?
I seem to. Do you know the history?
I know the exact numbers, so
I seem to recall those favorites do actually very well.
well, recently, yes, but overall, no. Since 1989, favorites of 20 plus are 5-9
Right.
against the spread.
Okay.
However,
Maybe I was looking at a spreads of like 17 or higher that where they did pretty well.
yeah, well, yeah. So 5-9 since 1989. However, since 2013, actually since 2014, 3-0 against the spread. So they
Okay.
were two.
Small,
They
still
were two
small
and 0.
samples. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Small sample size,
Now,
but they
by
were 2-9, and now they're five
what
and
I would
nine.
like to know, and this is maybe you can do it right now. I don't have my database out, but how about in I guess it was up through what was it 2021 when week 18 came in, or was it 2022 maybe it was
Mm-hmm.
2022, I'm not sure. But how do big favorites do in the final week of the season?
We can pull that
Now,
up.
for most years it's week in week 17, although actually and then week 18 for when the
what would you consider a big favorite? I can type that in
14 or
now.
I'd say 14 or more.
14 or more. Okay, so
Yeah.
line as less than negative 15, 13
Kind of like
and a
the
half.
Tampa Bay game. Well, that's
Yeah.
13 and a half, but same thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Just trying to think how to. Let's do like week equals 17, and season is before 2020. Well, it was 2023, right? We only had how many years have we had?
No, I'm trying to think because I know they changed. I think it may have been 2021 that they started
Yeah.
it. I believe. Well, I know one. I think the 18 weeks started the year before they expanded the playoffs. I don't think they expanded the playoffs the first year of the 18 game schedule.
Yeah, I can look right now. Yeah, so we've had actually 4 years of 17 games now. Wow. So 2021 was the first season that they
Okay.
did that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So all right. So for 2021, actually
Less than 2021, yeah.
And we can actually put this in parentheses. Or week 18 and
For 2021 greater.
Good 2020. All right. Let's see how this goes. 12 and 11 against the spread, 22 and 3 straight up. So most of them win, about 50 to cover. And nothing special here.
So I mean, other than money line plays, but I mean, you might you laying the money line on those on 7 of those teams, you might get back 80 cents on the dollar.
Right.
I mean, maybe a little bit more if you're using 17, but you're basically laying, huge numbers on the money line.
Yeah.
But the key thing is I think you said it's really close to a 50-50 point spread. Didn't you say that?
Yeah, it's what is it? It's 12 and 11 against the spread.
Yeah, there you go. 23.
Yeah.
And that's over a 4-year period. Well, no, it's over longer than that, right?
This is dating back to 1989. So
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it seems pretty even, but doesn't seem that often that there are huge favorites like that.
Excuse me. By the way, did you Google or did you query game week under or game under?
I did week.
Okay, yeah, game should be it because before 2002. I'm trying to remember when the 17th week came in, when they started getting the buys and everything. Because it's, in other words, prior to 2021, the final game of the season would have been game equals 16. Beginning in 2021, I believe, is when the final game would be game 17. You had buys in there, but the final game would have been game number 16 and then game number 17.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why I did week 17 for 2020 and before, and then week 18 and 2021 after.
No, but I'm saying before 2020, there was some, because the buys may have come in like in 1990 or something. I forget what year it was, or 992, maybe, whatever it was. I think one year there were 2 buys, but but in those seasons there were always only 16 games. It was just a question: was it a 16-week schedule or a 17-week schedule?
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. there's a big gap here though from 1997 to 2005. So if we just do let's just do since
2005 forward. Yeah.
That'd be a lot better. We just do 10-8 against the spread, so still
Not
a
much
little
difference.
bit over 500. So
10-8 versus 12-11. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter. So okay. Anyway, about this game, David Njoku's out, Denzel Ward's out, Dalvin Tomlinson's out.
Which one are we talking now? Are we talking the
Browns Ravens?
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, we are going back to the top. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So Denzel Ward's out, Dalvin Tomlinson's out, David Njoku's out. Myles Garrett had 2 DMPs to start the week, but then he doesn't have a designation. The only negative I see for Baltimore here is that they have 4 illnesses. So that might mean some sort of flu bug in the locker room. That's something to watch out for if you want to bet Baltimore. That's the only reason I can think of not to take Baltimore here outside of the huge number. I really don't see a reason to bet this game. Do you have any lean here?
No. If I were to bet the game, though, I'd have to take Cleveland.
Oh, really? Okay. You just
Baltimore's not playing next week. They're up 27-3, or maybe that's a bad number. Maybe 27-10 in the fourth quarter. They pull those. Now that doesn't mean Cleveland doesn't have to score anymore at that point. But even if it's 27-3, that doesn't mean Cleveland can't score. At the end. So there are 16 games on the schedule. This game would probably be down in the points for near the bottom to play either side. But if I were to play it, I could only take the points because, the game's Cleveland's winning the game 20-0 to start. Baltimore still has to execute, avoid turnovers and things like that. So, Cleveland does as well, but turnovers and that sort of stuff is built into the line.
Yeah, well, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is just so brutal. I did this. I'll spare everyone the guessing game. So I looked up the EPA of all the quarterbacks since 2020 who have thrown 70 or more passes. There are 95 qualifiers.
Is this the one that you did a few weeks ago, or is that a different query?
I expanded it to 5 years instead of 3 years.
Okay, because I remember the last one you had like 67 or 68.
Yeah. So I expanded it to 2020. There are 95 qualifiers. Dorian Thompson-Robinson ranks 95th out of 95, the worst quarterback we've seen in the past 5 years.
How many starts has he had in that period, or how many passes has he thrown?
It's a good question. I can.
Your query was what? Number of passes, or just any passes?
It's at least 70 passes.
Yeah. Okay.
He's thrown 181 passes.
Okay, so that's more than minimal qualifier.
Yeah. But the bottom 5. Oh, I'll read you the rest of the bottom 4. Trace McSorley, 94. 93 was Jake Luton, and then 92 was Trevor Siemian. Those are the 4 worst quarterbacks.
So DTR still has thrown about twice as many as the ones right ahead of him on the list.
Yeah. In fact, Trace McSorley barely qualified because he had 72 pass attempts. Someone asked for the weather forecast I have on the screen here. It says clear, sunny, and then 14-mile-an-hour winds. So not a huge deal. Winds slight concern, but I wouldn't be worried about that. So make sure you're to recheck it. The weather can change on a whim. And I think it's a little too early. Even only 48 hours away, I think it's a little too early to look at the weather. But just keep checking if you're concerned about it. All right, let's go to the next game. We have Bengals at the Steelers. This line is Bengals -1.5. The injury report says Chase Brown DNP 3 times. However, he's questionable. So there's a chance he might play with this high ankle / mid ankle sprain that he has. We'll see if he goes. I have my doubts. I don't think he'll go, but we'll see. Sam Hubbard's out. Amarius Mims was downgraded on Thursday. So limited DNP downgrade, which is you should never want to see. So if this were a normal game and both teams needed it, I'd be on the Steelers. I just think they're better than the Bengals, who have just an atrocious defense. However, assuming the Ravens win, which I would be shocked if they didn't, the Steelers would have nothing to play for because, almost nothing to play for. They could still get to the 5 seed, which might mean something to them, but it still might be pretty deflating. I don't know if they're going to go all out, but given that they're coming off some losses, maybe they will. So I really don't know.
By the way, I would much rather play at Houston than at Baltimore if I'm Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, for sure. So maybe they will have something to play for. The Bengals will play a lot harder, but the Bengals obviously will have the motivational factor here, but. Yeah, it's a tough one because again, if the Steelers go all out here, I think they will win. I just don't know if they're going to just exert themselves just to maybe have the 5 seed, because they could go out and still lose, and then they have to play Baltimore off like just this tired effort. I don't know if it's worth it. So what do you think about this game?
I've been going back and forth on this one. Pittsburgh. I might like Pittsburgh to the extent that not playing all that well. They have played some tough teams over the past few weeks that they've come up short on, and they lost 3 out of 4, I think, coming into this game. So there might be some incentive, but I think and again, they'll know their situation once the Baltimore Ravens game is over. So I'm trying to recall exactly what my thought was. I think I ended up when I came out with an opinion was Cincinnati minus the 1.5 over Pittsburgh. So that's just it's like a weak lean as far as that goes. That was predicated that Baltimore would win. But I think I have to now look at Pittsburgh. I mean, I go back to the game when they played in Cincinnati. Cincinnati scored, Pittsburgh matched. Cincinnati scored, Pittsburgh matched. Cincinnati scored, Pittsburgh matched. Cincinnati didn't score, Pittsburgh scored. Cincinnati didn't score, Pittsburgh, and they ended up winning 44-38. And that was at home. Because now I remember that was the game that I believe I said here, because I said a lot of places, that game defines Cincinnati's season. If they don't beat Pittsburgh in that situation, their chances of making the playoffs are slim. Not quite none, as we found out, but they're still very slim. I think I would prefer Pittsburgh, again, needing the win, or probably needing the win, and then hoping for hope that they end up with the number 5 seed. I trust them more. I trust Tomlin more than I do Zach Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Zach Taylor is a very good coach. Like I said, if this game meant equally to both teams, then I would definitely be on Pittsburgh. I do remember that game as well. It was even in the first half. Second half, Pittsburgh dominated.
Yeah.
Mike's saying I spent all last week telling Walt to take the Bills. Would he listen? I actually did, Mike. I ended up on the Bills. I switched my pick at the end, so yeah. I did listen.
At least it was interesting for a while.
Yeah. John says I trust Burrow more than Russ. It was very interesting. I mean, it was interesting when Rodgers shoved that guy out of bounds. I trust Burrow more than Russ. Yeah, absolutely.
What's Russell's? Is he on the injury list at all?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not.
It's not going to be about Burrow and Wilson. It's going to be about Cincy's defense and Pittsburgh's defense.
Yes, I trust. So yeah, I trust Burrow more than Russ. I trust Pittsburgh's defense way more than Cincinnati's defense. So
and Cincy's defense, yeah.
Right, exactly. Anyway, and I also trust Tomlin more than Zach Taylor, as you just said.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, let's get to the Sunday slate. It's another big line. The Saints at the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by 13.5. So there was some – I heard some buzz that Derek Carr was going to try to come back, but he has not practiced yet. Chris Olave has practiced fully, though. I don't know if he's going to come back with a concussion.
Why would a lot of these teams that are actually out of it, why would they risk further injury to someone who's probably not even played, 3/4 of a season? Why would they risk any of that? There's not what's to be gained by playing like Brock Purdy. I think he's been ruled out, but what's the reward? We know what the risk is. What's the reward if let's say Olave plays?
Spite against the Buccaneers? They just want to eliminate the Buccaneers? I don't know.
I could understand, by the way, and we probably will get a chance to talk about player incentives. Like, in fact, we'll mention it right now. I'll say right now, Barkley's not going to play. Yeah. He may very well have a contract incentive for setting a new record. If I'm the Eagles, just pay it to him. Get the goodwill. You're making millions of dollars. Make him feel good. The team will feel good. They'll feel good. And Barkley already said he's okay with it, so maybe he knows about something. But why take a chance when the risk is a lot greater than the potential reward?
I've seen a lot of people criticize Barkley for not going to it because he's quote tarnishing his legacy.
No, he's not.
I know. It's
he's basically a team player. He's not playing to become the all-time rushing leader. He's playing to be on a Super Bowl champion. That's why he left the Giants. Okay, I mean that's serious. That's the Giants couldn't offer him that. So he's being and that's got to. Is that legal? Yes, I believe it is legal.
Yeah, you can give bonuses. Yeah,
I believe there's a way of doing it. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I know in baseball, the Yankees did it, I believe, a few years ago with CC Sabathia when they didn't start him at the end of the season and he had a contract thing. And I believe the Yankees ended up giving it to him. Now, what it does against the cap, maybe there'll be a cap hit or something for that and the team could get fined or something. But, so what? They're getting billions of dollars over a 5-year period for whatever, a few $100,000, even $1 million, whatever the incentive is for Barkley. They would pay it.
yeah,
pay the fine.
Yeah, or they can say, hey, Jeffrey Lurie's or just Jeffrey Lurie's one of his organizations wants to pay you to come in, stuff like that.
Or let's restructure your contract. Your base salary for next year includes the whatever the incentive was.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's so many ways to do it. It can easily be done.
Yeah.
I feel like that's easy. So yeah, to answer your question, unless like Chris Olave despises the Buccaneers and it really wants to see him lose. Like, look, he's practicing fully. If he's completely cleared with the concussion, then maybe he just wants to go play. I don't know. MVS might play. He's upgraded to full, so. Like the Saints will actually, they may have some real players this week outside of because they've been throwing to guys named Jordan Mims and Kevin Austin. Sounds like random name generator guys. But they're actually gonna have some real players.
Is the rattlesnake gonna play?
Yeah. Well, so if you may have noticed in that list of 95 quarterbacks that I told you about, I told you the bottom 4, and you might be wondering, why didn't you do bottom 5? It's because number 91 is Spencer Rattler.
There you go.
He's awful. So if it's Spencer Rattler, I cannot back the Saints no matter who plays.
Yeah.
If by chance Carr can come back, then yeah, I would love the Saints, but no, it's going to be it's Buccaneers or nothing for me. What do you think?
Well, actually, I don't. Yeah. See, if I play a side, it would be the Buccaneers, but I'm actually looking to play under the total in this game because I really don't see how the Saints score a lot of points.
Yeah,
and then again, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm just trying to win the game, so I don't take any more chances than I need to. If I get out to a 10-0 lead or something along those lines, maybe I'll run the ball 80% of the time, keep the clock running, shorten the number of possessions. If the Saints happen to score, well, there's still a little bit of leeway to get the lead back, and then maybe you do a little passing then to do it. But if I'm Tampa Bay, all I'm concerned about is winning the game, and the best way to win the game is to limit the number of opponent possessions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't expect a Rattler to score. The best thing he does is move around. And Tampa's very good against mobile quarterbacks. Todd Bowles' defense has always been good against a mobile quarterback, and especially against really bad quarterbacks. Bowles' scheme can easily be beaten by good quarterbacks, but the bad ones they can't do it. So he blitzes a lot. Rattler's going to be confused.
Well, yeah. See, if they start Rattler, I have to reconsider the under because he could easily throw a couple of picks.
Yeah, it's true. That is absolutely true. All right.
Although I was going to say Tampa Bay may end up running the ball down to the 5-yard line, but no, they're not going to give up a chance to score points because they need the more points they have, the better their chance of winning.
Yep, that's definitely true. All right. Next game is Bills at the Patriots. This is a tough one to handicap because the Bills are not going to play their starters. The Patriots, they are not going to play some starters either because Christian Gonzalez, DNP twice, Ben Brown, their center, DNP twice. So they're going to be out. 2 key players going to be out. We saw Drake May suffer what looked like to be a concussion last Saturday. He got cleared after one drive, but he kept playing like he had a concussion. He just did not look sharp after he came back. And I found myself wondering if they were going to sit him in this game. We've seen no evidence of that. He's been limited in practice, but there's no evidence of that. If Drake May plays, I like the Patriots here just because I trust him more than Trubisky and the backups. Whereas I feel like the Patriots would like to win a final game, even at the cost of the number 1 overall pick. I don't think that matters to them because they don't need a quarterback. And I think that they would like to have just a win over a divisional opponent. However, if it's Jacoby Brissett, that's a different story. I don't think I'd back either side. But right now, I'm leaning Patriots. Maybe a small bet. What do you think about this game?
How many of the Buffalo defensive starters are going to sit it out?
I don't know for certain. Maybe John in the chat can help us. He's our resident Buffalo.
Because if they're getting the majority of their starters playing, New England still has to score to win.
Yeah.
Buffalo could still Buffalo's backups, even with Trubisky, can still beat the Patriots. Don't know if I'd play the
Yeah,
game, but I could lay the Bills could win by accident in this game.
they could. That's why
You know.
I want Drake May to play, not Brissett. Like
Yeah.
May has shown enough, whereas Brissett really needs a great supporting cast around him to thrive.
I don't know that would put me on the Patriots, but it might cause me to back off the Bills.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. John's saying they're sitting all they can with the roster constraints. Yeah, I'd be surprised if any starters play. Which starters could even play at this point. I think Gregory Rousseau, Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver, AJ Epinesa, they're all going to be out. Same with Von Miller. Matt Milano's not going to play. Terrell Bernard not going to play. Benford, Hamlin, Rapp, Douglas not going to play. Taron Johnson not going to play. Those are all the starters. I don't see who they would play, or like who, like why any of them would play. Like, so yeah, I think it's it's just going to be a bunch of backups. And,
I don't have the numbers in front of me. Maybe you have them. How turnover prone are the Patriots in losing turnovers?
I can look that up right now.
See if I have that from last week.
Yeah, so I imagine they've had a lot of turnovers this year, just because they're 11th, and looks like they're 11th in turnovers. Yeah,
Is that turnovers committed or differential?
Committed.
Okay,
20,
because I'm not interested. What's that?
Yeah, they've had 22 turnovers committed.
Okay, so that's about 1.3 per game, something like that.
Yeah,
that's not terrible.
Titans number 1 at 33, and then Browns at 32. So
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let's get to the next game here. It is the Bears at the Packers. This line is Packers -10. So they noticed that the Bears have 3 illnesses on the injury report, which again has me worried about the flu. Tevin Jenkins, a very talented guard, was DNP twice. Roma Dunze, their talented receiver, DNP twice. Kyler Gordon, one of the corners, downgraded to DNP on Thursday, so that's a concern. The only injuries for the Packers, Quay Walker, who's been out for a while, DNP twice, and Christian Watson, of course, DNP twice. But yeah, I mean, look, the Packers, I don't know how motivated they're going to be for this game. Like, they can get out of the 7th seed with a win. However, Washington would also have to lose. So I could see a scenario where they play their starters for a half, and then they suddenly see Washington's up by 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, and then they pull their starters because they realize they can't catch Washington for the 6th seed. So I don't know what to make this. Maybe play Green Bay first half. Outside of that, I really don't know if I could lay the 10 here, knowing that Green Bay could just sit their starters on a whim. So what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, maybe Green Bay first half is kind of like some of the games here that involve teams like Carolina, Atlanta. Maybe you play Atlanta first half where the game is still going to be competitive, and they want to get outside. I think this Green Bay game is another situation. Again, the Commanders. I know a lot of people like the Commanders. Any thoughts of maybe Dallas had been playing well, but the way they lost that game last week, I mean, they were never not competitive. Maybe they just throw it in for the season. They can't finish with the winning record anymore. So maybe Washington does win. But then again, Washington is guaranteed of playing next week on the road. And do you want to risk anything? Have they announced if they're sitting anyone?
No, they have not.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just don't know.
But then again, it might be the very same thing that maybe you play Washington in the first half, and then when we get to that game. But yeah, I can't. If I had to play the full game, I'd still lay the 10 with Green Bay. They have a good enough defense that could create some turnovers.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely if I had to lean one way or the other, definitely be Green Bay.
I mean, now there is a case. I suppose you can make a case for the Bears, only it's a little bit different than last week's situation with the Giants, where the Giants did not want to end the season being 0-9 at home and end that long losing streak. Maybe the Bears want to end that long losing streak that they have. What is it, 10 or 11 in a row right now? That maybe they come to play, and maybe with Green Bay sitting everybody in the second half, perhaps, with a comfortable lead, that Chicago might be trying, but even so, that's you know what I'm doing here. I'm trying to invent an argument. I mean, I'm trying to come up with a reason. But that's why I think the play in the game is Green Bay first half.
Yeah. I love the varying comments we have. One Slew says, "Do the Bears even score?" And Iceberg says, "Chicago easily wins." So
3-0.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So let's get to the next one because this one's a tough one in the handicap. This one is one that Evan and I had a debate on. Jaguars at the Colts. This line is Colts -5. The only injury note here: Anthony Richardson DNP twice, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I mentioned that list of 95 quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson ranks 89th among 95 qualifiers. That's how bad he is. I need to. It's for context. I need to
But by the way, it's bad to be ranking 89th out of 96. It's especially bad to be ranking 89th out of 96 if you're using a 7 or 8 year database.
Yes.
More quarterbacks involved.
Yeah, let me read you the rest of the names on this list just for context. So from 84th to 95th, Easton Stick, Mike Lennon, John Wolford, Dwayne Haskins, Zach Wilson, Anthony Richardson, PJ Walker, Spencer Rattler, Trevor Siemian, Jake Luton, Trace McSorley, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Which one doesn't belong? It's Richardson, who's currently the starter, but I don't know if he's going to play this week because he's DNP twice. He has back spasms, which I have back spasm. I can tell you it's not fun. I'm hoping for Flacco here. I like the Colts, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this because the Colts embarrassed themselves so badly last week. They couldn't stop anything the Giants are doing. They allowed Drew Lock to look like a Hall of Famer. That's not even hyperbole. According to EPA, Drew Lock had the 6th best performance of any.
I heard about that.
Yeah, insane. They missed
which may tell you something about the value of EVA, to be honest.
Yeah. Because look, I think a lot of that was it's kind of a byproduct of the Colts missing so many tackles. Like Malik Neighbors catches a short pass. There's 2 missed tackles right away. So the quarterback gets credit for that.
Right,
exactly.
He should be unaffected by that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are missed tackles on every play.
Yeah, no, I agree. So
part of the game.
But it's a big part of the Colts game. They've missed the most tackles in the NFL this year.
In the league.
But I think coming off such a humiliating performance, we saw them rebound similarly 2 weeks ago, where they're coming off the Denver game. Jonathan Taylor, of course, dropped the ball. Yeah. They made a lot of mistakes. They should have won the game, and they embarrassed themselves. They came back. They throttled Tennessee. They were up 38-7 before they fell asleep for the wheel.
Only one difference. After that last blowout loss, they were still in the playoff race.
Sure. I will counter by pointing out what Arizona did last week, where they were eliminated by the Panthers. They were eliminated. They came back. They fought hard against the Rams. These are professional players. And
but you're now asking a team that's eliminated to go out and win the game and cover.
And I think they will against. They're much better than the Jaguars. I have them in Group C. The Jaguars in Group F. And I just think they're substantially better than the Jacksonville. And I think as long as they're motivated, and I think they definitely should be, because these are forget the playoffs. These are professional players. If they have 2 weeks of just awful film to close out the season, that's not going to go well for their aspirations of getting a new contract. So they're going to have to try hard in this game to get new contracts to keep their livelihoods going. This is not just about this season. This is about the rest of their careers. So I think they almost have to try hard here. And if they do, like I said, I think they just.
Well, don't you think Jacksonville is concerned about their careers as well?
No, not really.
What's that?
No, they're coming off a win.
But they still want to end the season on a high note. The reason why, and I don't know I'm going to play the game, but the reason I would play Jacksonville is Colts generally don't win by margins, and Jacksonville's played a number of close games this year as well, and Indianapolis could get that win. I could see this being a 3-point game either way.
Well, I just think Indianapolis is just so much better than Jacksonville. We just saw Indianapolis.
Oh, they are. Well, they've played better, but how many times? If that were a case, then you'd never have an underdog pull an upset.
Yeah, but the line's only 5.
And by the way, there's a difference between there's a difference between, let's say, Minnesota being a better team, let's say, than Green Bay, for example, versus the Jets being a better team than the Giants or something like it's a better team to me it's a relative term, meaning that it's well, and I use this example, it's like must-win games. Okay, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, it's being described as a must-win game for both teams. Well, yeah, it's a must-win game for Cincinnati or they're out of the playoffs. That's a must-win game.
Right.
It's not a must-win game for Pittsburgh. They're in the playoffs. It's a nice-to-win game if you want to improve your seed, but it's not a must-win game. So so when the analogy is that when you got two bad teams, well, and you even said it now, two bad teams take the bad team plus the points because it's a game that either team can win, as opposed to when it's two really I guess to say is when two really good teams meet one another, one really good team has to lose. When two bad teams play one another, one bad team has to win.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Garbage plays garbage, take the garbage plus points.
Plus the point, yeah.
Right, but I mean, I don't think that's what this game is. I think the Colts are a Group C average team, and the Jaguars are the horrendous team. And anytime you have an awful team coming off a win like that's an automatic fade to me. Like bad teams can't sustain success. They just won their big game last week. I think they're done. And
but see, they don't have to win the game to cover this spread. The Jags.
Right. Well, yeah, but still, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna. I just don't see them showing up here. To me, this is motivation.
You mean they might be like the Colts were last week?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. On the road, sure.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't know. We'll see. I feel strong about the Colts. I think this line should be a lot higher than 5, but Walt needs a hug from somebody versus Colts. Yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see what. You know what's going to happen? Tom hates the Colts more than anyone on the planet. So that's our final co-host for the week on Saturday. So he's going to have even more pushback than.
No, I would not be surprised if he says, "Yeah, I might play the Colts in a parlay on the money line, but I don't feel comfortable laying 5."
He will never play the Colts in his life. If you offered him money, he would not bet the Colts.
Okay. He doesn't like the Colts. Okay. I thought he was in favor of the Colts. I thought I've never listened to him, so I don't know. But maybe that's what you were saying. That yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw the movie Clue, the old '70s movie. But when Mrs. White, she's like flames on the side of my face, heaving breaths, heaving. Like that's how Tom is with the Colts. Like I said, he'd rather lose a bet than win with the Colts. That's how much he despises them. So he's definitely not.
Is he from like Baltimore or something?
No, he
still hasn't gotten over the move. 40 years ago.
Area. He's from our area. He's the Packers fan. He just I don't know. He just doesn't like the Colts.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, and I think in most weeks, I might agree with that because there's still football to be played. And as I say, they came off that embarrassing loss. What was it, the Denver loss, and they came back, but they were still playing for a playoff spot. Now they know this is the last game. Both teams, actually, this is the last game of the season. We're just looking to get out of here and stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just think that the way they played last week, like they have to look better for contracts. Whereas like the Jaguars just won, so like we look good.
Yeah, but you know what? But you see, the agent knows all these things too, and for every bad play that whoever his player is, the agent will pull out. But look what he did this week. Not against the Giants, but against some other team that they beat earlier in the season when they pulled off a nice upset or something. Let's say against Pittsburgh or something. So, I can understand that. Because I normally like to look for bounce back situations and things like that, but not necessarily in Week 18. Because in all honesty, I don't know that I mean, what you say makes sense about that normally they would be able to come back and want to put forth a good effort, but we don't know what their mindset is. They may have been. Now, realistically, they had to believe even going into last week's game they were not going to make the playoffs. Too many things had to happen. Okay, but once that becomes a reality, you wonder what the mindset is. Now, you did bring up a good example about Carolina, and Carolina played a good game defensively, but the offense couldn't do anything against the Rams team that had some vulnerabilities. But that's again not trying to create an argument, but it's they call it selective memory or whatever. But if the Colts cover, it wouldn't surprise me. If they covered by winning 27-6, that would surprise me.
Actually, 27-6 wouldn't surprise me. I just think they're a lot better. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have like a mental breakdown if the Colts don't cover at this point.
Well, let me ask you a question because you might follow it, and this
Yeah,
could also be a thing. I'm guessing the Jacksonville players hate Doug Peterson.
the Jacksonville players hate Doug. I'm sure he has
I'm
some.
just guessing because of how poorly they've played for the last couple of years. Because if
Yeah,
that's the case, why would they go out and try and save his job? Although it's not going to happen. Why would they play hard for him in a game that means nothing? I think they like Steichen, like the Colt players. So
okay,
maybe they do go out and play hard.
okay. Do you think Steichen's job's in jeopardy?
No,
Okay.
it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
Maybe the GM who drafted Richardson.
yeah. Well,
Who's that? That's Ballard, right? He's still the GM there. He's been there for like 100 years.
yeah, yeah. I don't. What do you do? What do you do with Richardson? I asked Kenny this yesterday. If you're the Colts, what do you do with this situation with that Richardson? And he's like you said, he's in this group with Jake Luton and Trevor Siemian. Like, what do you?
And having thrown, I think a lot more. I think you said having thrown a lot more passes too.
Yeah. Do you give him one more year, or do you bring in someone? If you were the GM of the Colts, like, what would you do at this point?
If it's a new GM, they might bring in a new quarterback. I guess it depends upon what they feel Richardson's potential is, because everybody seems to say he has great potential, but he's very raw, very unpolished.
Yeah.
But they see the talent in him. But I've always, and I've come around a little bit more on this, that coaches often get too much blame as opposed to the general manager. You can only coach the players you're given, and if the players you're given don't really have the talent that the GM thought that they had, how can you really blame the coach? Coach can only do so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Steichen's done a decent job. Look, this team was 9-8 last year. That was not a 9-8 football team.
Yeah, that's true.
And they could be they could have been a 9-8, I guess, before they lost to last week.
Yeah, he looks as a lost 1K parlay due to the Colts. I had a money line parlay that
not due to the Colts. Isn't there another word in there?
there is. I don't want.
Oh, there's a missing letter, but okay.
F seeking Colts. I lost a potential 5K payout on a money line parlay because of the Colts. I did live bet the Giants eventually, but not nearly enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyway, if I were, I said this yesterday, if I were suddenly running the Colts, I would say go into next year, Richardson, you're going to play every game, no matter what. We're going to see what happens. If you're great, that's awesome. If you suck, we're tanking for Arch Manning. So, we get another Manning for another 15 years. So that'd be great. Either way, it'll work. It'll work out either way, I think. So.
Well, I will root for you in this game because I'm going to have no interest in it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. All right. Okay. So next one is Panthers at the Falcons. This line is Falcons -8. A couple of Panthers were DNP twice, J.C. Horn and Josie Jewell. J.C. Horn's absence would obviously make things a lot better for Drake London, just like it did for Mike Evans last week. One thing to know about the Panthers last week, they were dealing with the flu. It was kind of funny because Arizona had the flu when they played the Panthers, and then the Panthers caught it from them, and then they had the flu. I actually was wondering if Tampa caught it from them, but they didn't. Unless they didn't show in the injury report. But anyway, the Panthers no longer have the flu, so I suspect they're going to play a better game. And here you have Atlanta as a big favorite, expected to win. All the pressure's on them with this young quarterback. Now, maybe he doesn't know any better, but I think this team just hasn't been in a position for success, and yet they're suddenly expected to win by a big margin. I don't like it. I think Carolina could win this game. I know we talked about Atlanta being the best survivor pick, but I think the Panthers are live to win. I like them at +8. What do you think about this line? What do you think about this game?
I know they had the flu and everything, but I can see Atlanta doing to Carolina not quite what Tampa Bay did to them last week. But when I look at Atlanta, I like the fact that they decided to bench Cousins and put Penix in there to see what he could do under what has been pressure situations, because they were playing for a playoff spot. And, Washington just won the game last week. Atlanta didn't play poorly. Penix has played decently the last couple of with the 2 games that he started. Shows some potential. I said before, I think that might go with Atlanta in the first half in this game, and then see what their mindset is coming out, depending upon what's going on with the with the Buccaneers game. So I could see that. I think Carolina played well in those 4 or 5 games where I think they won a couple or one. I think they won 1 or 2 of them, but were competitive in I think a couple of 3-point losses. But if I recall correctly, 2 of their last 3 games, I think they lost by double digits.
Yeah, to Dallas and Tampa. It just seems like whenever a team is fully focused on them, they can throttle them.
That's Atlanta.
Well, yeah, I just wonder if Atlanta is just really going to take them seriously after seeing what Tampa did to them. I don't know. I mean,
if you have to win a game, you're going to try and score not on every possession, every play.
Yeah, but
if you're playing the Detroit Lions, you're still going to try and score and be focused every play, even though you got no chance of winning, for example.
Yeah,
so, I don't think that'll be a problem for the Falcons.
Well, I agree. I
think it might be a problem for the Colts, though. But then again, the Colts are going up against a team, as we said, in a very similar situation. Only they've gotten accustomed to being eliminated from the playoffs because they were eliminated, October, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that in theory. It's like you do like these are human beings. Like they have to get up for this game. They have to get up for their opponent. Like they have to take them seriously. I know they know
it's
they
a division
have
rival.
I know. And they already smoked them once. They have. Like they probably know. Oh, we'll beat this team. No, no problem. Yeah, we'll score. We'll do all this stuff. I don't know if they're going to be fully prepared for what's going to happen. Then again, like I said, maybe Penix just doesn't know any better. Maybe that'll help him out. I don't love this game. I'm not going to bet this one heavily, but I would lean Carolina. Let's get to the next game here. Redskins to the Cowboys. This line has continued to rise. It's now Washington -6. Couple of injuries for Washington. Tyler Biadasz and Marshall Lattimore, both DNP twice. I don't think it matters against Dallas here.
Any new injuries for Dallas, though?
I didn't see any new injuries for Dallas.
I'm wondering what's causing that line spike. Are people waking up finally at this point in the week to realize that Washington's a much better football team? Why did it take so long to get up to where it is?
I think people realize that Washington probably wants to win to get the 6th seed.
How did that change since Sunday?
Well, it's week 18. Maybe people don't realize that they're like, okay, maybe Washington's not going to play their guys.
Yeah, but those people aren't influencing the line's moves, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, look, someone's betting a lot of money on them. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm saying, why is it taking? Because that line, I think, was 4.5 yesterday.
Yeah, it's 4.5 for a while. Now it's 6.
That's what I'm wondering, why it went up that much.
Yeah, and Luke's asking that too.
Same point, yeah.
And some professional bettors came out and they're like, "Oh, I like Washington now." I don't know. Maybe they're hoping this line to drop to 4 or something, and they can hammer the.
Or
4.
maybe they've got indications that Dallas is just going to show up and get out of there.
Yeah, it could be. So
that their late season surge ended last week with the one-sided loss in Philly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, without CeeDee Lamb, this team just looks dreadful. Yeah. They have nothing going for them. I don't see how you don't take Washington here, even at this enhanced spread at 6. As long as it's 7 or below, I think I'd be on Washington. What do you think?
Well, I said I wouldn't play Jacksonville, but I might, because if it's almost similar here. If I were to play Jacksonville, I'd have it in a parlay with the Cowboys. Expect to losing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty tough here. So I was in the Cowboys last week. Lamb was out. Yeah, they
we knew he was going to be out.
Yeah, they scored. Was Parsons downgraded to limited practice? I don't know. I didn't see that. Let's see. Parsons. Yeah, okay. Parsons was downgraded from full to limited. I didn't see because he wasn't DNP. If it's down, I don't think that would cause a 1.5 point spread spike.
Well, unless the scuttlebutt was from reliable sources that Parsons isn't going to play.
Oh, could be. Yeah, I mean, if my pushback would be wouldn't he just be DNP if he's not going to play? Why was he still limited in practice and not being
give the commander something to prepare for?
Right. Yeah, maybe that's.
Gamesmanship goes on an awful lot. Yeah, as far
It's
as
a thought though. Like if
that's why we always have issues every so often. Well, why wasn't this guy on the injury list on Friday, and the team gets fined $50,000?
yeah, I think that's something you might want to get ahead of. Maybe that's what these people are doing.
Yeah, I do like this comment we see right now
Yeah,
about the
pick of the
Commanders. Yeah,
week. They're a bunch of
makes
young
sense. Yeah,
bucks. Anytime, yeah, you get a bunch of they play no matter what. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you want to get ahead of this injury, if it's announced that Parsons is out, this line is going to skyrocket. So,
Now Washington is what? They are the number 6 or 7 seed right now. Washington.
they're the 6. If they lose and the Packers win, they drop the 7.
I was going to say if both teams win or both teams lose, who would get who's there right now?
Washington is 6 if they win.
No. I'm just saying where are they right now?
They're 6 right now.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if they win, if they win and the Packers win, they're still at 6.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what the tiebreakers are because I think they'd have the same record. And if Washington loses and Green Bay loses, they're still at 6.
Yes.
So it only matters if they have different results.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. The 7 would play the 2 seed, which would be Philadelphia.
Right.
And the 6 would be the 3 seed, which would, I think, be the Rams. I think they would hold the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers could have a shot to switch to 3 instead of 4.
I'd still prefer to play the 3 seed rather than the Eagles. So,
yeah.
So Washington's in number 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'd rather stay at 6 than go to 7.
Oh, so no. Well, no, I'm sorry. The number 2 seed plays the number 5 seed, which would be Minnesota or Detroit.
No, the 4 would play the 5. The 3
4 would play the 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 played the 7. So
that's right. Yeah.
Green Bay would play Philly right now.
Right. Yeah.
Then Washington would play the Rams.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Washington would have the incentive to win this game to play the Rams or Tampa as opposed to playing Philly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the next game. We have Texans and Titans. This line is Titans -1.5. I don't know how you could play the Texans here because they might sit their starters. Tony Pollard limited in practice. Tajay Spears DNP twice with concussion. I assume it's going to be Pollard. If I had to play a side, it's going to be Tennessee because Houston's playing the backups. But Tennessee's so bad that they may not be able to beat Houston's backup. So I'm not playing this game. What are your thoughts?
Has Houston announced who's not playing?
So Houston's announced that they are going to play their starters, but I assume it's going to be for like 2 drives or 3 drives or something.
Yeah, because they're not in very good form right now, and I think they want to, even though it means, they don't rest them for the full game. I think they want to get a little bit of that momentum back that they had because they have not been a very good team the last month.
Yeah.
So I would probably play Houston because they have more of a reason to want to look good and play well going into the playoffs than Tennessee does, who doesn't really need to look good or play well for anything other than, maybe they're playing a Houston. If the reason for playing Tennessee is because Houston's going to rest players, that's not and I think you sort of alluded to the same thing. That's not a good enough reason for me to play Tennessee. It may be a reason to not to play Houston, but because of the resting players. But if I were to play the game, I'd have to play the Texans.
Yeah, they could play starters. They could do them play them until they score a touchdown, or the defense guys until they get a stop, and then that's it. But who knows? Maybe they play half, and then if you take Tennessee, then you're kind of screwed there. So yeah, let's. I don't see a reason why we should be on that game at all. But the last of the early games, we have Giants at the Eagles. This line is Eagles -3. Jalen Hurts still in concussion protocol. Not that it matters for this game, but it matters for the next game, which is a little worrying now. But we know that we talked about before Saquon Barkley not going to play. The Eagles not playing the starters, of course. They never do under Sirianni. I would take the Giants if I had to.
Well, I have to believe. But why would you take the Giants? They just got that big win last week.
They're playing backups.
Just like,
That's what I said.
But Philly's backups are better than their Giants. Philly's backups are better than their Giants starters, with maybe a couple of exceptions.
Maybe. I don't know. It's a tough call.
They still get to put 11 players on the field.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to play Philly, but Philadelphia might be that other team that I would look to play in there with the Jaguars and the Cowboys. Nobody wants them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get to the late afternoon games. We have Dolphins at the Jets. This line is Dolphins -1. For the Jets, Sauce Gardner, Morgan Moses, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Quinton Williams all DNP twice, so that's worrying. But I think this is a choke job for the Dolphins. They're playing in the cold. They need to win this game. I just think that the Jets are going to take it to them. They should have beaten them last time. I think they're going to win this game. They threw all over the Dolphins. The Dolphins can't rush the quarterback. So I don't think they can take advantage of the Jets' issues on the offensive line. And so, yeah, I think this is a Jets victory. What are your thoughts here?
No interest in playing the Jets. It's either Miami or nobody. I'm not sure I want to play Miami, so it's probably a pass. But under no circumstances would I play the Jets.
Okay. All right.
Especially now that what's their friction now between Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is team turmoil. You know, they'd love this game. They'd love to play. They'd ask the referees in the league, can we play this game with a running clock? They just want to get this game over with.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, Miami, Tua may not play, right?
Yeah, we don't know yet. He has a hip injury.
So that what? I mean, Huntley?
Yeah, probably Tyler Huntley, yeah.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, and they'll probably have some other players out for Miami. I mean, I don't think Miami. Well, you know, let's see what happens with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Against Denver, because then that might change things. Because then the only other team, who'd be the other team that would stand in the way?
Well, Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, Denver would have to lose to Kansas City.
Yeah.
So,
which could happen. Yeah.
Well, let's get to it. We have Kansas City at Denver. Denver's -10.5. I wonder what your thoughts are in this game. I really don't have a strong play here, but I think you might. Do you have a strong play on this one? I'm leaning Denver. What do you think?
I'd take Kansas City. They can beat Denver with their second teamers. Carson Wentz is a capable, experienced quarterback. Denver's defense has not been as sharp over the last 3-4 weeks as it was for most of the season. Kansas City's defense is pretty solid, even with the players missing. And again, Denver just needs to win the game. Mm-hmm. You got to cash your bet. They got to win by 2 scores.
Yeah.
You know, they're just happy to win the game. You know, what's the total in this game? I think is like 39.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, Luke, you're absolutely right. 39. Broncos win. Kansas City covers 39 and 10.5. Let's say 11 to make the number nice. You're talking about 25-14. I could see Kansas City being held to 14. I can't see Denver scoring 25.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
I see this line coming down.
Yeah, well, it was 11, so it's gone to 10.5. So yeah, it could maybe.
No, but I think I may have even seen a 9.5 somewhere, and now it's back up to 10.5.
Okay, interesting.
Because I think people are putting too much into, you talk about downgrades in quarterback. Well, Mahomes is going to be a downgrade to any quarterback. But if you have your average starting quarterback in the NFL on the 31 other teams, the downgrade to Carson Wentz is not that huge.
Right.
I'd almost put Carson Wentz in a situation like a Baker Mayfield or a Sam Darnold. He's in that class of quarterback where he had a little bit of success, mostly not success, and now he's been reinventing himself. And he's playing for, an all-time great offensive coach.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's get to the next game here. Chargers at the Raiders. This line is Chargers -5. Chargers -4.5. Denzel Perriman limited twice. Amir Abdullah DNP twice. Really, this is a tough one because we don't know what the Steelers are going to do. If the Steelers lose, then the Chargers have a chance to get the 5 seed, which is huge because they play Houston. And then if the Steelers win, the Chargers have nothing to play for. So there's that. So what are your thoughts on this game?
I wanted to play the Chargers in this game because of what happened last year. I think I mentioned it last week that I was looking forward to this game, hopefully meaning something for the Chargers. But by meaning something for the Chargers, it meant needing to win to get in the playoffs. But of course, they won last week, so they're now in the playoffs. But as you mentioned, it's a question of who they would play in the playoffs, and a lot of it will depend upon Pittsburgh as far as who the opponent will be, what the Chargers need to do. They could still win this game by less than 5. I think the players, they like Antonio Pierce. They realize this might be his last game. I don't know if they can do anything about it. And again, the one thing I don't know, and I'd love to hear some reports out of the Chargers, did Harbaugh bring up this game, what happened last year at Allegiant Field, at Allegiant Stadium? Did he bring that game up at all during the week? Because if he did, I'll feel a lot better picking the Chargers. If he didn't, then I could see him, and I think he may rest some players. I think Herbert might even be rested.
Okay.
Because I think he's still nursing an injury. But yeah, if he brought up the game last year, even though he wasn't coach, that might fire the team up. On the other hand, if it's just another game, and Harbaugh's a smart coach, he knows he needs a fresh team for next week. He knows they're going to be on the road, and you would think Houston's an easier team to beat, and look what Houston did last year. They were hosting the Cleveland Browns, and they beat them by like 30 something.
Yeah.
But again, that was last year, and C.J. Stroud had been playing great all year. He only played great, relatively good this year. The first part of the season, he's been really down in the last month or so. So maybe the thought is that give us Houston. We're playing a wounded duck, but we're playing mind games. We're just speculating. We're fans. We're handicapped. We're better. We're thinking about this stuff. It only matters what the players are thinking.
Yeah,
because what the players are thinking gives us what we might expect.
All right,
if I had to make a play on the game right now, reluctantly I would play the Raiders.
Okay. What about Seahawks at Rams? This line is Seahawks minus 6.5. The Rams, they are not playing the starters. We know that. The Seahawks have incentives. Geno Smith.
Yeah, talk about Geno Smith's 3 incentives.
I'm not sure exactly what they're. It's passing yardage, win, and I can't remember what the third one is.
Yardage, wins, and completion percentage.
Okay.
$2 million for each of them.
Yeah, so I think.
By the way, Tampa Bay, same thing with. I think he needs 88 or 86 receiving yards. Baker Mayfield has come out and said basically, if we're winning, he's getting the football.
Okay. So I like Seattle here quite a bit. Like they're gonna be fired up to give Geno all the money. You see this all the time in Week 18. Yeah. The players they rally around the guys who can collect money, and so I think Seattle will come out and play pretty hard here for the quarterback. And the Rams, we know they're not going to play hard. So I like Seattle.
Oh, they're going to play. No, they're going to play hard, just not with their starters.
Yeah, well, okay, they won't game plan at all. Let's say that their coaches won't game plan.
Oh, they might. Remember, they're a lot of the people got to realize when you sit your starters, that's an audition for the guys who are playing to earn jobs next year.
That's 100%. That's true. I do like Seattle a lot, though. What do you think of this game?
I do like the Rams here, coming off of their last few efforts where they struggled offensively. Defensively, they've played decently. I mean, you had the Buffalo game in there, but that was expected to be a wild one. I think it's just a big line because, Seattle's playing for incentives, for player incentives, as opposed to playing for the playoffs. So where some players may play hard, other players may not play necessarily as hard. Geno gets the bonus for the team win. I don't know if the other players do. Now, if the other players have that incentive for getting a win, then they play hard. But you're still looking to Seattle. Seattle doesn't seem really, for the most part, to be a blowaway team, especially on the road. They have. They won like 24-3 at Atlanta or something like that early in the year. Mm-hmm. But I could see. I see this coming. I could see the Rams coming out loose. Yeah, they got nothing to lose. They know that they're in the playoffs. They won the division. They know where they're set in the seeding. I guess they could. If in the unlikelihood that Tampa Bay loses and Atlanta wins, then we know the Rams are the number 4 seed. If Tampa Bay wins, then I'm not quite sure where the heartbreakers are. Although I have to believe that when they show the wild card standings, I believe they show because don't the Rams and Tampa both have the same number of wins, don't they?
No. Tampa has 9 and Rams have 10 wins.
Oh, okay. That's one under. Yeah. So I'm guessing that they must.
Yeah,
Well, okay. So
they can flip.
yeah,
The Rams could go
they could
down the
flip,
court.
or they could end up tied. That's where I don't know where the tiebreaker would come in.
Well, tiebreaker goes to Tampa, I think. So I think Tampa could get the third.
So Rams could slip down.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I just think that's a big number. The Rams have reason to play, at least in the first half, to regain a little bit of their sharpness, and even if it's with backups. So I just can't feel comfortable. If you can't play the Rams, and the choice, if I can't play the Rams and the choice is Seattle or pass, I pass.
Okay. All right.
Again, I'll repeat it again. Lines maker advantage is 11-10. Our advantage is selectivity. If we don't see an edge in playing, let's say the Rams, whatever, don't play the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It doesn't mean play the other side. It means just stay away.
Yeah. Last of the 4:00 games, 49ers at the Cardinals. This line is Cardinals -4. It was Niners -1, except the Niners have so many injuries. Brock Purdy not going to play. Nick Bosa DNP twice. Spencer Burford DNP twice. Leonard Floyd, same thing. Demondre Lenore, same thing. Deebo Samuel, same thing. I thought if it's just Purdy to Josh Dobbs, I would like the Niners. The Niners went all out against Detroit.
And that's exactly one of the reasons why I like going against them this week. That was their Super Bowl.
It was. Yeah, it was. I see.
And by the way, the 49ers, the coaching staff should all be fired if they play those starters who have been injured all year, Purdy included. He's the future of the franchise, supposedly.
Right. So, yeah.
It would be absolutely stupid to play it.
Yeah,
so, if you got a situation like the Barkley situation, you guys have players for playing, 17 games, give them the damn bonus. Don't risk injury. Could be career-ending.
Initially, was going to be in San Francisco, but with all these injuries plus as you said, the post Super Bowl hangover, quote unquote Super Bowl, I think that Arizona is the right side here. I assume you think the same. You just said you like Arizona, right? So.
I lost with Arizona last week because I expected the Rams to come out and really, here's a team that just had their playoff. They were leading the division for the first part of the season. They just had their playoffs hopes crushed. They were playing a Rams team that had crushed them. 41-10, I think, back in week 2 or 3. It was a perfect spot for the Rams to just go all out and win the game, 31-13. Well, 13 points were scored, unfortunately, by the Rams, and that was good enough to win by 4 over the Cardinals. Cardinals played very well in that game defensively, which was a little bit surprising considering the talent on the Rams, although they could not really establish the run. And I think I had mentioned that the week before, they had the Cardinals had that bad game, but the thought was that was a bad spot for the Rams, and they didn't play great, but they did enough to win. But this week, it's a bad spot for the 49ers because it's not what I said, not the Super Bowl loser effect. It was the fact that last week was akin to their Super Bowl. It was the one team, and you could say it almost for Detroit as well, although Detroit had a lot more to play for. So, yeah, they wanted to avenge last year's Super Bowl loss, but that meant nothing when you're trying to protect the number 1 seed, which, of course, it didn't mean anything at that point. But that's Campbell again. Campbell says, we don't care what's on the line. We play hard. We're aggressive every game, which is why this team has gone since the middle of the 22 season, 36-10 straight up, 34-11-1 ATS, although they're on a little bit of a slump ATS because they go out and they play hard every week. So I think that San Francisco, as you pointed out, I think they put their heart and soul into that game last week. And they had the right opponent because of the way Detroit's defense was playing, and sure enough, they gave up 34 points to the Detroit defense. So, I may lose again with Arizona, but I'm going to play. But I'm going to play them for somewhat of a similar reason, although I'm playing on them instead of playing against them like I did last week.
Okay. All right. In the last game, the game of the year, Minnesota at Detroit. This line is Detroit -3. There are really no injuries to speak of here, outside of the ones that already happened. Yeah. So I feel like Detroit is so banged up at this point. Like, yeah, they can score on anyone. They're great offense. Their great offense could lead to a cover here, but at the same time, I really worry about their defense stopping anyone. They look.
I just interrupt you for a second. I'd love to see the Bengals make the playoffs and the Super Bowl. You might see the first Super Bowl where the winning team scores 60 points.
That would be incredible. But yeah, no, I don't really. I think I'll be Minnesota +3 here, just because I think they can score a lot in Detroit and maybe get a backdoor push or backdoor cover.
Oh, remember the way the first game went? It was
Yeah.
21. What was it? 27-17 or 28-17 entering the fourth quarter. Green Bay and Detroit in the lead.
Yep.
And Minnesota came all the way back to make it 29-28.
Yep.
And the Lions got the game-winning field goal. Why can't we see a repeat here?
So you like Minnesota?
No, I'm not sure. We've had all the problems with Detroit's defense, and yet it seems that they always seem to make the key play.
Okay.
And 14-2, and people were saying, well, Detroit's been a real good home team over the years. Well, yeah, but their 2 losses this year both came at home, and both came to well, I guess at this point you have to say Tampa Bay's a quality team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
With what they've done, and certainly Buffalo is. So I would not, I would not be surprised with almost any result in this game, other than if it was a double-digit victory by either side.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to go against Campbell because he's liable to make a winning gamble. Campbell making a winning gamble at a key point in the game and it working.
That's true. Yeah.
But I'm not going to argue against anyone who A, wants to take the Vikings plus the points, or B, wants to take the Vikings on the money line.
Yeah. Hey, Annie, my daughter is crying. So we have to go here. Sorry, guys.
I think she was picking because she likes the Jaguars.
That's true. She's another one. So you want to briefly touch on the logicalapproach.com?
Yeah, I haven't been updating it a lot lately. I've been so tied up with other things, but we'll be getting it going again. And probably again, I keep saying I'll put the spreadsheet up, but having some issues with the spreadsheet with all the bowls in there. But I can at least put up the NFL stuff. I've worked out something to do that, and haven't gotten fully into basketball yet, NBA or colleges. I love the colleges. The NBA I tolerate, but. And people who are looking for databases for past college football and NFL seasons, I've got databases. I have them in DBF format. A lot of data for all the teams, all the games going back to like the early mid 1980s, and they can easily be converted. Well, I shouldn't say easily. It depends on the program. Easily converted into Excel.
Yeah. All right, guys. I have to go get my daughter. So thank you. Please hit like, subscribe, comment, below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. Go to thelogicalapproach.com. We'll be back Saturday. But yeah, guys, I have to get going. So I'll talk to you later.